live streams from Language Culture and Dr. Lou. And today we're going to be talking all about why all these politicians in Italy are so pissed that ICE, American ICE, US ICE, that a unit of theirs is going to have a security role in the Winter Olympics. And I guess I can totally see, I mean, reading this on face value, why would anyone want some other country's ice in their country? But that's very understandable because what the heck would U.S. ICE be doing committing customs enforcement or anything like that in another country? They just really wouldn't. And so the interesting thing to me, one of the interesting things about these winter games, which are the Milano Cortina Olympic Games, the 2026 Winter Olympics, of course, we're talking about. And uh, one of the funny things about this to me is that these are Milano and Cortino d'Ampezzo, are two different places, and they're both in northern Italy, sure, but if you look it up on Google Maps, you'll find it's like a 5 hour drive in between them. And so um, that would be kind of like if Buffalo, New York, and Lake Placid, New York co hosted a Winter Olympics kind of deal. It's like a good 5 hour drive away. But I guess, well, part of what we can expect is how all of the ceremonies and the ice events, like speed skating, figure skating, hockey, things like that, the ice events, those are all going to be in Milano, aka Milan, and all the snow and sliding events are going to be in Cortina, uh, well, which is also known as Cortina d'Ampezzo, and they're going to be there for, of course, alpine skiing and luge and bobsled, all the snow events and sliding events and all that. So to me, that's interesting that two places 5 hours away, but Cortina is really it's a ski town, so it makes a lot of sense that a lot of the snow events would be held there. And so again, going back to why is so much of Italy all pissed off about the idea of American ice being there. Well, that reminds me of pretty much a lot today. I've been watching anti ice protests going on, not just in Minneapolis or other places in Minnesota, but lots of places nationwide because today was a national day of action. A lot of anti ice protests going on right here at home today, and for the obvious reasons like the lawlessness and the killing of some American citizens, or even the detaining of some American citizens for no very good reason or anything like that. And the thing is, since the internet exists all around the world, other countries know about this. Other countries see what's happening in um, Minnesota and Minneapolis specifically, but other people see what's going on there, and it looks very undemocratic, right? Which is a shame because a lot of the world sees the U.S. as the very homeland of democracy, right? We should be really leading the way. And instead, they're seeing a lot of very undemocratic things going on and laws being broken and people's rights being violated. So I guess I can understand why you would say, no, thank you, ICE, we don't want you here, right? And so can a lot of people who have been out there protesting all day. And so, by the way, the Olympics, the Milano Cortina Olympics, are starting a week from today, next Friday, and and so I understand why you would be all scared. What the heck is ICE going to do there? They have no role in customs enforcement over there. But there's a special division of ICE. If you remember, ICE is part of the Department of Homeland Security. So then part of ICE, a unit of ICE, is Homeland Security's investigative unit that mostly focuses on transnational crime, meaning crimes that involve border crossings and all that. And so it's not the same unit as we see out there on the streets of Minneapolis. Um, Hi, I'm glad to see people in the chat. Hi, hi, hi. Very cool. Thanks for being here. And so, anyway, this is a different unit of ICE that's going to be providing some US security at the Olympics. And it's not that unusual because this has happened in the past. A lot of times, the Homeland Security investigations, which is part of ICE, a lot of times they work on big events, big international events like this, um, to sort of, yeah, help make sure that no transnational crimes are going on, and to be in support of American citizens who are over there as well at the same time. And so even though this is an investigative unit, they still have a total attachment to ICE. Oh, hi Henry. I'm glad you could make it. No worries about being late. You're here after all. Anyway, and so it's the investigative unit of ICE is there, and the U.S. government. We have lots of explanations for that. For instance, it's not so unusual for Homeland Security investigations to be at a big international event such as the Olympics to help do a little security for the U.S. For Americans who are there and whatnot, especially when we have heads of state going and things like that. Like, for example, we have JD Vance and his wife Usa Vance both planning to attend the opening games in Milan, and also Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, is planning to be there. So that's sort of the U.S.'s excuse for having ICE go with there. And so one spokesperson for Homeland Security said that agents with Homeland Security investigations, which again is a part of ICE that focuses on transnational crime, and that they would be involved to help vet and mitigate risks at the Milano Cortina games starting again a week from today. They start. And like I said, it's not that unusual for Homeland Security investigations to be at international events, taking the lead on international human trafficking situations and other things like that. But then again, their affiliation with ICE is in the same ICE agents that we've been seeing out there committing very unlawful acts against American citizens and immigrants alike. That it would be that the Italians would really be pissed off and say, no, thank you, we don't want any of you here, right? Anyway, and so that's not great from a PR perspective for the US, but this is to be expected. A political fallout here at home is bad enough, and then get the eyes of the rest of the world on it. And it looks bad. Like, for example, well, Italians, they know what fascism looks like. They know what authoritarianism looks like, right? They've been through it. They lived through this, right? Mussolini and all that. And same as Germans are really horrified by what they see going on in the US because they've been through it too. And so one of the Italian politicians that I've noticed seems the most pissed off about this of all is Milano's mayor. Their own mayor described ICE as a Melissa that kills. And he says they're not welcome in the host city. Again, Milano is hosting the game, so the mayor is saying he's not welcome there. And again, the U.S., we have our government has some defenses for this anyway, some reasoning they give. For instance, and I quote, quotation given to NBC by a DHS spokesperson, Trisha McLaughlin. So she's a spokesperson for the Department of Homeland Security. She said, obviously, ICE does not conduct immigration enforcement operations in foreign countries. So I'm reading some notes from around here. That's why you might see my eyes. I want to get all the quotations exactly right and exactly who said it. And so again, Homeland Security spokesperson says obviously they're not going to be there to do customs enforcement. And she said that they're going to be at the Olympics and their Homeland Security investigations are there to support the U.S. Department of State's Diplomatic Security Service and help the Italian security to vet and mitigate risks from transnational criminal organizations. So that's what the Department of National Security is saying this about this. And again, it's probably in part because J.D. Vance and his wife and Marco Rubio are all going to be there at the opening ceremony. So sometimes when important heads of state and whatnot are involved, Homeland Security gets involved too. And so that was not really a problem all that much in 2024 when the Summer Olympics were in Paris, France, because Homeland Security investigations were there working with French officials to do things like secure the games through the best sharing practices, as they say. And also, the U.S. Embassy in Italy said that, and I'm going to get this quote right, so I'm reading again. They said in a statement, the State Department's diplomatic security services is leading the U.S. security effort at the Milano Cortina 2026 Winter Olympics. As in previous Olympic events, multiple federal agencies are supporting the diplomatic security service, including Homeland Security Investigations, ICE's investigative component. And so some Italian officials have already freaked out on this. And now I'll get to what more of the Italians have been saying about this. And absolutely, I'm seeing some very good points made in the comments. Very cool. And oh, hi, Sunshine. Nice to see you here. Fantastic. I love you that you always make it to my live events. Very cool. And so, anyway, um, two people we haven't heard from as far as Italian politicians going. Two people we haven't heard comment on this are Italy's president and their prime minister. And I'm a little surprised that the president hasn't piped in because he is, well, Sergio Mattarella. He's known as very centrist in his politics. Like he's not too far out to the right, too far to the left. I would call him kind of center right a little bit. And so I'm surprised he hasn't said anything about this, but maybe he doesn't want to step in a political pile of dog shit. I don't know. And who I'm less surprised has not spoken out against this is their prime minister, um, Giorgia Meloni, because I'm not positive that she's in against this. She's very very conservative, and I wouldn't say it's a stretch to call her a downright nationalist, right? So she might not be so against what she's seeing during the immigration crackdown in the U.S. She might be all about it. Who knows? But again, the mayor of Milan seems to be super pissed about this. Again, his name is Giuseppe Sala. And what he said, I'm going to quote again. He said, "This is a militia that kills. It is a militia that enters people's homes by signing its own permission slips. It is unclear that they are, it is clear, rather, he said, it is clear that they are not welcome in Milan." And he said that to an Italian radio station on Tuesday, so just a couple of days ago. So he's actually spouting out all over the place how unwelcome ICE is in his city, and why? Because he thinks they are a murderous militia. They're a militia that kills, according to him. And so no wonder a lot of people are using the word Gestapo when seeing what's going on in Minneapolis. And so um, the same mayor again is saying, the mayor of Milan is saying, I wonder, can we for once say no to Trump? Of course, referring to Donald Trump. And then he goes on, ICE agents must not come to Italy because they are not aligned with our democratic way of ensuring security, right? So he finds this to be very undemocratic, what he's seen going on in Minneapolis. And then you add to his voice, for example, one of the politicians who's a big part of Italy's opposition Democratic Party. So they have tons and tons of popular support from people. They're the big opposition party, and they're center left, I would call them. And he wrote, again, this is Tuesday, like 3 days ago, that it would be paradoxical to entrust Olympic security to those who are themselves criminals, operating with violence and killing innocent people in cold blood. Again, referring to ICE. So this is now a second politician in Italy who finds ICE to be a murderous squad of thugs. And so he goes on. Actually, he went on X, aka Twitter, and wrote the following thing. He said, "In Italy, we do not want those who trample on human rights and act outside of any democratic control. It is unacceptable to think that an agency of this kind could have any role whatsoever in our country." Hmm, that's interesting that he put it that way. And again, that's on X, so he's putting that out on a pretty darn conservative platform. Um, and so senators from the same party, from again the opposition Democratic Party, um, they formally requested some clarification from the government and assurances from the Italian government and European Union that privacy and cybersecurity standards would be complied with. And all of this is funny because it all came out in Italy a week ago tomorrow, actually last Saturday, that one unit from ICE would be, from American ICE, would be part of, have a security role, a U.S. security role at the Olympics. And they cited an anonymous source, so I don't even know who their source was, but they're a well known Italian newspaper, Fatto Quotidiano is their name. And they also got a quote from the Italian Interior Minister and Matteo uh, Piantedosi, I think. Sorry. And so he basically denied knowledge of this, but he didn't rule it out either. So he's playing politics, I guess. And so what he said. to another news agency is that he said every country delegation decides to protect their own athletes and staff in the way they want. I spoke with local officials, and this is not what we heard. Um, so he's sort of, yeah, not confirming or denying that any part of us is going to have a role. And so on Monday, the president of the Lombardy region in Italy, Attilio Fontana, he said that where the games will be held, appeared to confirm it, so by saying ICE will only be here to watch over U.S. Vice President Vance and Secretary of State Rubio. And so, again, I think I agree with that. That we're sending extra security because our vice president and our second lady, his wife, Usa Vance, is supposed to be there, and then our Secretary of State are all going to be there. And I'm curious about why Usa Vance would be going to Italy right now because by all the reports, she is pregnant, which with what will be their fourth child, and I didn't realize it became safe for pregnant women to fly. I don't know that I'm not even sure what trimester she might be in, so I can't really comment on that. But that did kind of surprise me a little bit that they do plan to go over together, and so basically, the people are saying this is only a defensive measure, and so they're convinced that nothing bad is really going to happen. But of course, so the U.S. has all our reasons to justify this. The Italian politicians have their very good reasons not to want any part of us in Italy as well. I understand that. And so, what did the um, International Olympic Committee say about any of this and any of that? Well, first, I just wanted to mention how Italian media have reported that a bunch, a branch of the Interior Ministry that oversees security, said that there were no agreements in place with ICE. So he added that no ICE presence had been confirmed and that the security escort of the U.S. delegation had not yet been finalized. So nobody seems ready to confirm that ICE is actually going to be there. At least none of the foreigners are. Maybe some of the Americans are, but apparently no final agreements made. But so, what did the International Olympic Committee had to say about all this? Um, they told, I think this was another NBC article. Oh, by the way, there is a link to an NBC article about this very topic in the description of this video if you want to check that out after you're done watching this live stream. And by the way, thank you for the 4 likes already. I'm glad to see that. And so they were saying, they said to NBC in an email that the security at the Olympics game was the responsibility of the authorities of the host country. So that's how they put it. Um, but they also added it's the responsibility of the authorities of the host country who work closely with the participating delegations. So that means outside security is welcome from the participating delegations. And the International Olympic Committee, they referred all other questions to the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee, which in turn said reports suggesting that ICE would provide security for its athlete. And he said that reports suggesting that ICE would supply any security for American athletes were not true. So this goes back to my thinking that they're probably there to support, to protect mostly Vance and Rubio and all that. And so we can also the Olympic Committee also confirmed that since the 1992 Barcelona Olympics is is worked in close coordination with the State Department's Diplomatic Security Service. Um, and he said, of course, I mean, they said this provides an additional layer of support for and coordination while also serving as a valuable resource for U.S. citizens attending the games more broadly. So that's the whole story. But I really do get it. Why the heck ICE would be so unwelcome in Italy at this particular moment? Because I'm not sure ICE have ever been any less popular in the US right now. And again, whole world has the internet, so they have seen all these videos too of, let's say, for example, of when ICE unalived Renee Nicole Good, uh, and who, sadly enough, she's a mother of three, so survived by three children and her wife Becca. Um, and then also just this past weekend, the killing of Alex Preddy. He was only 37 years old, and he's a nurse. So anyway, and you can see from the video that the guy did not look like he was fighting back in any way. Um, so although he did have a concealed firearm on him, but that was apparently his right because he has a concealed carry permit. Um, and some people got pissed about, oh, who goes to a damn protest with a gun and whatnot. When I don't think that's not the situation I saw there. It didn't look like he was at some rally or some organized event protest. He was out walking and carrying a concealed weapon, and then he started filming events that he saw happening right there in the street where he was. So I'm not sure about yeah, people critiquing him for bringing a gun to a protest because I'm pretty sure he wasn't he wasn't at some big organized protest anyway. Um, but yeah, so that's the thing. ICE got this super bad reputation in the U.S. right now, and also around the world. And because these units of ICE who have been terrorizing neighborhoods in Minnesota, um, and by the way, did you know that just saw another report that since ICE's street arrest numbers have been going up a lot, them arresting people right out in the street, you know what other stat corresponded with that? Is that seven times as many people are getting detained, arrested and detained, seven times as many people without any criminal records. And by people, I'm talking about migrants. Seven times as many migrants who have no criminal records are getting detained, which goes really flying in the face of what our government, what the American government had been telling us about how ICE is only there to go after the worst of the worst and the criminals and all that. So yeah, I can wholeheartedly agree with the Italian politicians who are finding this all to be completely undemocratic and unacceptable. And this is all kind of sad to me because the Olympics, like the Olympic Games, this is supposed to be a time of coming together for the world, where the world comes together and competes in sports against each other, and we all get to celebrate our home country athletes and all that. So it's really sad that this ICE immigration crackdown in the US that's gotten out of control is actually spilled over and screwing up international events and screwing up a little more of our reputation around the world, because that's not really how America is supposed to be. We're supposed to be the so-called leader of the free world, and we're supposed to be the homeland of democracy and all that, and it's all very upsetting. But I do, Yeah, I totally understand where the mayor of Milan is coming from. And I guess we're all gonna have to wait and see and hope that nothing bad goes on with the again, it's Homeland Security investigations. It's that unit of ICE who's going to be there. As far as I know, no other units of ICE will be there. So hopefully things will go smooth sailing from there. And yeah, that would be really nice. And so yeah, that's most of yeah what I had to report about the whole thing. Um, and yeah. I'm understanding some of these comments. It was, um, if it was the same unit that we're seeing in Minneapolis going out there, I would be so uncomfortable with that. I would say absolutely no way, no how, never. But knowing that it's the Department of Homeland Security's investigations going there, it kind of makes me feel maybe not so bad. But then on the other hand, I'm having a harder and harder time trusting what the heck our government is telling us when they're telling these things like, oh, Renee Good and Alex Preddy were domestic terrorists and stuff. I mean, I don't. When you have your own government telling you not to believe your own lying eyes at all the videos you've seen, that makes it tough for me to, keep believing in them. And so yeah, Henry, you're exactly right. Their reputation has gone down among the local police, uh, too. And oh yeah, I saw that too. The police chiefs have spoken about it. Yeah, we had saw a bunch of police chiefs from different departments come out and do a big press conference about how this is sort of ruining the trust. In the government and the police force that all these police departments has spent so many years building with the communities. Absolutely, that's a very good point, Henry. Yeah, and and yeah, and we have a hard enough time with the police in the U.S. Speaking of which, did you know that Renee Good was shot only a few blocks from where George Floyd was killed by a police officer in 2020? About the anyway, it was right nearby. So it's sad that Minneapolis keeps being getting so infamous for these things. It's really really scary. Anyway, and oh, thanks, Henry. You like the sweater? I appreciate that. Um, and anyway, this is yeah, anyway, that's basically what I had to say about this. That I agree with the Italian politicians when they say that ICE is not allowed there, that ICE is not welcome there, rather. Because I can understand why anybody right now would be like, yeah, no way, no thank you, no how, we don't want you, right? And anyway, yeah, that's so sad. And this just, to me, I've been lamenting over the last year how the reputation of the U.S. is getting smeared, it's going down, down, down with other countries in the world, especially the ones that used to be our allies and used to be our friends, and so are still technically supposed to be our allies. But when you start talking about taking Greenland away from Denmark, you can understand why they would not be so be so quick to be a super good ally anymore. And so same goes for Canada and Mexico. Anyway, and also when people seen what we did to Venezuela, uh, basically kidnapping their head of state to put him on trial here. That is anyway. I I'm worried. I knew how during Trump's first term our reputation abroad was going down and not looking good. But the first year of his second term has been so much more extreme than that, and I'm really, really worried because I don't think America's reputation around the world will be solved within my lifetime. Um, Perhaps when my nieces and nephews have kids, maybe some of their lifetimes, America will get a better reputation again. I don't know. Um, but yeah, and that's always a good point. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Yeah, that is a good point. And and what are you saying, Henry? Oh, Danish troops died in Afghanistan while helping us after 9/11. Huh, that's a good point. Yeah, these are countries that have been our allies, and I'm talking about not in the way distant past. I'm talking about allies that go back over 100 years consistently now. A lot of, and some of them even further, even multiple hundreds of years. But yeah, it's all very, very sad. So I'm really sorry that Trump's immigration crackdown and the unlawful actions of ICE have actually, at this point, spilled over into talk about the Olympics anyway. So I really hope that they will find, and it's so I'm amazed that the U.S. government didn't think of it that, oh yeah, maybe we should leave any units from ICE out of this because ICE, they're a liability right now because their reputation is shot. It seems like somebody in the State Department should have thought of that, but who knows anyway. But yeah, that's all a very sad thing. So again, that's about all I had to say about this. And oh, France helped the colonies with the Revolutionary War. That's right, Henry. Um, the King of France basically bankrupted the crown, aka bankrupted the French people, by funding our revolution because they hated England so bad, pretty much. And so that left to the French Revolution and off with their heads and all that. Yeah, that was really dumb of that particular King Louis back then to spend so much money on helping the U.S. win a revolution against England, when it would end up literally costing him his own head. Anyway, that's really scary, and hmm, I don't. Huh, that's an interesting question. How is Trump not the same as Hillary in this policy? So I didn't catch quite all the conversation going about this policy, but it's true that well, a lot of American hates Hillary too. So I guess Trump and Hillary have that in common. Half of the country hates them, right? Anyway, it's just a thought. And but anyway, some people named Louis are dumb, but not all. Well, thank you very much, Henry. Some of the kings, Louis, sure, yeah, they were dumb. That's funny. That's good. I appreciate that very much. Thanks for the little defense there. Anyway, so so what else? Does anybody have anything they would like to add to this discussion or would like me to add into this discussion? I would be happy to do so. Um, and I am sorry that when I go live from my phone like this, I can't have a nice slideshow to show you. I do like showing some pretty pictures. Here's a pretty picture. My mug says "Best cat mom ever," right? And it's flipping you off at the same time. And I do hope that little Dewey, who's sleeping over there, agrees with me on that front. Anyway, oh well. But yeah, so I guess that's everything I had to say for this live stream. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you again really, really soon. And Yeah, until then, catch you around next time. Bye bye.